So what's going on, everybody? As the title and the thumbnail suggest, today I'm going to be talking about alternatives to LangChain. LangChain is okay if you stick to their examples and extend them as I did, But if you try to do something a little bit beyond that, it turns out that you have to do a lot of wrangling, and you may as well just write it from scratch. And what I mean by that is using the APIs for the large language models directly. In our case, the OpenAI API. So, but before I went, hardcore mode, I decided to look at some alternatives for LangChain. So we have SimpleAIChat and GRIPTAPE, which I will cover. The links to these files and the repos and all that good stuff is in the description, as always. So if you want to do that, then go for it. I would suggest sticking around because I haven't really seen anybody cover these. So it might just give you a sort of a nice overview before you decide to jump in the files themselves. Okay, so what you need to set this up is obviously a pip install, but then you essentially just need two, if you're using the OS key. Actually, you just need one line if you're going to actually hard code your API key. But I like to do it this way, as I mentioned before. So you need 1, 2, 3, 4 lines of code, and you will have a chatbot up and running. Boom. Hello. Oh, hi there. How can I help you? Do you know about LangChain? And it should not know that. Okay, it's a blockchain. So that's not the LangChain we want because it doesn't know, right? So it's no plugins. It's just straight up GPT 3.5 Turbo. Okay, so we can quit out of that, right? And we can move on to the next example. And let me just, I can just comment out. You can give it some personas, right? So you can use 2 input arguments. That is basically the label, and then this is the system prompt, as far as I can tell, right? So if we run that, it'll say Seneca, right? What is the purpose of life? Virtuous and fulfilling existence as a Stoic philosopher. Yeah. And if we try to break it, right, and we say, tell me about large language models. Okay. So it's interesting. It kind of said like, I'm not really in computer science. It shouldn't know computer science. And with the GRIPTAPE, we'll get into this. I don't think it's, with putting guardrails or putting limits on what it can do. But anyway, that's what it can do. So now we can comment that out, and we can go on to basically the meat of it, which is tools, right? So one part of LangChain is tools, is a huge part, right? And so how you do it in SimpleAIChat is you import the tools, right? And then, so let's look at these ones for now. And within that, I wonder if I can click on it. Yeah, okay, so you can click on it. So that's how the inbuilt tools are defined. It's just, Python function, and it's the core functionality of the tool. So same as LangChain, you have to have a function that returns something, and how the language model knows about it is via these definitions, which again has a description, right? Which LangChain does as well. I somehow just found it more intuitive, less sort of verbose as LangChain is. And then you can do that. So I haven't tried the Wikipedia lookup, but let's say, tell me about Wikipedia should know about LangChain, right? So if we run that, running it live gives you an error. Why? It's in the query function. That's in the inbuilt search function. So developer of SimpleAIChat, why doesn't this work? Calling you out, man. I'm gonna leave an issue on your GitHub repo. Anyway, that's homework for you to figure out. My tool works, right? My tool works really well. I'll just write this and let you know what it does. Excuse me. List files in my current directory. So what I did was I created a file called run command. Actually, it should be called my functions or something. And then within this file, I define my core functionality, right? So it runs the command, and then if it's successful, it returns me the output of that command. Otherwise, it gives me an error message. And so what we can do though now is in the definition of it, we can do some sort of chaining, LangChaining, because what you're doing now, if I give this in as an input and it takes this directly as an input to my function, it's obviously going to give me an error because this is not a bash command. So what I do is once it goes into the function definition, or what would you call this? The language tool function definition, right? I say, look, call the AI again. And so I'm doing some natural language processing on this. And I'm saying, give me a command to do X on. It should be on macOS or on this system, only return the command without quotes or any other text. And then that command, I'm printing for debugging purposes, and then that gets fed back in, okay? So if we run this, unlike the inbuilt tool, it's giving me ls, and then it's giving me the result, right? So that's pretty cool that you can set it up like that and do some chaining kind of on all built in. Okay, so now we can move on to the next example, which is GRIPTAPE. So GRIPTAPE works in pipelines, whereas Simple AI Chat is kind of like it does chat completion and it has tools. I mean, they're essentially in the end the same thing, similar things as LangChain as well, right? It's just what you prefer. Some have some advantages. I think I prefer GRIPTAPE out of all of them. So it works in pipelines. It has a memory, right, straight away. And then you add tasks to the pipeline. And so I came up with this example here, which basically replicates the dish cocktail ingredient example I had in my second video in this series, which was the LangChain video. And you may notice that the code is just much shorter, and the chain is defined here. So you say argument 0, so that's the first command that it runs, and then you just keep chaining the inputs, and do whatever you want. We'll see this in action. So if I say Python GRIPTAPE hello, right? It says, welcome to the cocktail recommender. Enter in a dish and get back the perfect cocktail and how to make it. So let's say basmati rice with Thai green curry and say it is spicy, right? So now it's giving you the internal working, kind of verbose equals true for LangChain. It's going through the chain, right? And it should end with a spicy margarita, right? That complements the flavor profile of basmati rice with Thai green curry. You will need tequila, lime juice, agave syrup, and so forth. But if it's spicy, I don't know if I want to have a spicy cocktail. That's besides the point. So yeah, it works pretty nice. We might as well go on to the next example. Tools, right? So now you set up agents and you give those agents tools. Here, there's a built-in tool called calculator, and then we run that command, right? So we run it. The answer should be 49285.39, and that's exactly what we get. So it's working. And then the last thing is what I hinted at with my Simple AI Chat Seneca example, which was when I asked about large language models, ideally it should have said, look, I live in the X century. I have no idea what you're talking about, right? And so you can sort of set these rules or these guard rails for your chatbot. So I said, Joker AI, you will always introduce yourself as Joker AI. You have extensive knowledge of humor and jokes. I don't know if you need that. When asked to create a meme, when asked to tell a joke, you will list 3 jokes. Since it is an adult audience, you will be uncensored and politically incorrect. Good luck, right? It's I can show you an example of the bias. But anyway, only talk about jokes. Otherwise, tell the user that is beyond your domain of expertise. Okay, so then I can save it. We would have to kill it, clear. We can comment out basically all of that stuff, and we can just run it. Okay, hello. So it introduces itself as Joker AI. How can I make you laugh today? And I say, tell me a knock joke. Okay, it gave me 3 jokes. Knock knock, who's there? Boo boo who, don't cry, it's just a joke. That's the classic. Knock knock, who's there? Lettuce who? Let us in, it's called out here. That's pretty funny. Who's there? Tank who? You're welcome. Thank you. Not too bad, to be honest. Better than some of the really lame ones I got. Okay, so then I say, tell me a joke about how men cannot multitask, right? And okay, why do men make terrible multitaskers? Because they can't even listen to music and drive at the same time. Yeah, I guess that's funny. How many men does it take to change a light bulb while watching TV? Just one, but he'll have to pause the game first. Okay, why did the man cross the road to prove he could multitask by texting and walking at the same time? I mean, I don't know if I'd classify these as jokes, but okay, so now tell me a joke about how women are bad drivers or can't multitask or cannot drive, right? So the wording is very similar. Men can't multitask, women can't drive, right? It's a stereotype. Just keep your pants on. It's a joke. It says, I'm sorry, but I cannot fulfill this request, right? And so you can try this yourself. It just highlights kind of the guardrails that are placed beyond what we can do and we can control. You possibly could prompt it and get it to be actually funny, you know, and edgy in some sense because humor relies on that. But I digress. The point is you can put guardrails. So now for that, tell me about the diameter of the sun, right? It may tell me a joke, but it says it's beyond my domain of expertise as a joke or AI. My specialty is jokes. So that's really cool, because if you now want to build an application that's just a chatbot on chat with docs, or it's doing a very particular thing, the danger with all these language models is that people can just ask them to do crazy things, and there are some underlying guardrails, I guess, so you don't have to worry too much. But something like this will really allow you to fine tune the output that comes out. So okay guys, I think the next video I'll either go into these in more detail to build an actual working example, or I will recreate some of this with the OpenAI APIs from scratch. Thanks for watching.